said this, I don't remember when I said it a while ago or whatever, but we went to lunch one time in LA, and he was sitting there telling me how bad he wants to knock Alistair Overeem out. It's like, I want to knock this guy out so bad I can't stand him. He's a punk and all this stuff. And for him to say that, it's not his, so he really doesn't like Alistair Overeem. But he said, the thing that's driving me crazy is I want to knock Alistair Overeem out, but Cain Velasquez deserves this title shot.
Right.
He's the guy that deserves the shot. I know that this is the guy that I should fight, but I want to knock Overeem out.
Right.
Can you talk about the first fight? Obviously, when we find out afterwards that both guys are hurt, all the conspiracy theorists say, hey, these guys were told, let's fight. This is on Fox. It's our main event. I know maybe you're both hurt, but we really need to keep this main event together and not lose.
Yeah,
it.
no. Ariel asked me that yesterday. I don't. I had no knowledge of either one of them being injured going into the fight. And there's situations where, let's say you have let's say you screwed up your ACL. Guys have fought in the UFC with no ACL. So it all depends on.
Who was it?
Rico Rodriguez didn't have an ACL. So you've got different situations for different guys depending on their injuries. It's very rare, like in the NFL or most sports, where a guy goes in 100%. Where he doesn't have some little nagging injury or whatever. But what you don't do is you don't send a guy in to fight with an injury that's so bad that you're really putting him in danger.
In light of how many main events and big fights you lost this year, do you respect the fact that they both stepped up and did that, or do you feel like, gosh, I wish you guys would have told me?
I do, but I would expect nothing less from those two. That's the way that those two are. I get some guys call up with a hangnail. They can't fight, you know what I mean? And then there's guys that, could go in with one arm. It's so true. And you meet all kinds of different fighters. Some don't care about anything. Some feel like no matter how bad the injury is, it goes away once they step in there, and the adrenaline starts, and there's all different types of people that fight in this sport.
When you look at like Major League Baseball or the NFL, Adrian Peterson was out 9 months with the ACL. He's back. Strasburg with the Tommy John surgery, they shut him down because of concern. So, you got to think that a guy that has that kind of injury probably was not anywhere close to 100% in that.
The
that
ACL is a crazy injury.
That's when you're kicking a lot like he was.
Well, it's lateral movement too.
Yeah.
You can barely move laterally if you have that. Your leg goes out on you again. But Rico Rodriguez fought without an ACL. Had no ACL whatsoever. So
who did he fight with? Do you know who that was?
He fought tons of times. He didn't have an ACL the whole time. He was So you never know. Different things for different people. You never know. Yeah, in a perfect world, you want every guy to be 100% healthy when he goes in there. No nagging injuries. No, another time I found out after what's his name? He's my champion. What's his name? Dominic Cruz. Yeah, Dominic Cruz. He went into a fight with his hand all messed up, and he still threw punches like his hand wasn't messed up.
That was a Mighty Mouse fight.
Yeah, that kid is just, you got these guys that are just tougher than nails, and Dominic Cruz is one of those guys. He's like, I don't give a shit what breaks or what happens or whatever, I'm fighting. You got guys like that.
You alluded to at the podium that you're not sure how this fight will do because of the time frame. This is a really significant fight, so why would you actually put this in this time frame when you're not sure how it will do?
Well, you never know. I don't ever know how a fight's going
to do. But
you
kind of have a feling, hey, GSP is going to come through with a big event or somebody.
GSP was gone for a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Right, no, I know that.
And he's the biggest pay-per-view star in the sport.
Right.
I don't have to worry or guess on what he's going to do. You know what I mean? I know what he's going to do. But this is one of those fights around the holidays. The one thing that I do like, unfortunately, for all the people in the East Coast and the Midwest, there's a massive snowstorm. They're shutting down flights. People can't travel. So I like when people are snowed in. That's always good for me.
In Brazil, you have a problem with Jose Aldo and a motorcycle.
And I'm giving away a motorcycle?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the...
Well, let me tell you what. When you own a motorcycle, here's the difference, okay? You take a guy like Cain Velasquez or Junior Dos Santos, right? They've got plenty of Junior Dos Santos has got a pimped out Range Rover, and God knows what else he has. Cain Velasquez has a bunch of cars. You don't want it to be your means of transportation. okay? Especially in Brazil. Brazil's the one place on earth you don't want to ride a fucking motorcycle, okay? I've been there. I've seen it. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. You got people zipping in and out of these things and bumper to bumper traffic, missing trucks like this. Let me tell you what, Jose Aldo has a plenty of money, okay? He can buy a car or a bus or an SUV, all right? He doesn't, you can't have a fighter and his main means of transportation be a motorcycle. That's crazy. But if one of these guys wins the Harley Davidson is a bike you take out on the weekend, you cruise around, you know, completely different. You do not want that to be your main means of transportation.
Of course, UFC 151 happened, but forgetting about 151, this is the first pay-per-view in Vegas since 148 in July, which is the longest stretch in many years. And as far as tickets go, and the crowd showing up, they're always late. Lately, you know, they're kind of, you know,
like the boxing crowd.
Yes. What is your take? It is the fight
I don't think that's going to happen this time.
But what is your take on Vegas as the fight capital of the world? Has it lost its esteem?
Oh, I don't think so. The reason this is the fight capital of the world is because no matter where you go, anywhere in the world, we sell tons of we do. Boxing can't do what we do. Boxing doesn't put on fights in all these cities that we do, right? Major fights with, you know, television and everything else, and pay-per-view. But the thing about Vegas is it's a destination. It's a place that everybody wants to come. Actual people living here in Vegas that will be there on Saturday is this.
Me and Morgan.
Yeah, these two. Yeah, and Hill. You know, other than that, it'll be people from all over the country coming in. So when you call it the fight capital of the world, more fights happen here than anywhere else in the world, and this is a destination where people will travel to see one.
You're still high on it. You still think it's a...
It definitely is. There's no doubt about it. A couple weeks ago was Pacquiao, and Mayweather will fight here again. All the big fights are here.
And I can't recall an undercard fighter,
Hi, buddy.
a relatively unknown undercard fighter, getting as much press as Eric Perez has gotten over the last couple weeks, especially from like mainstream media outlets. Is this your big push? And obviously he's on the same card as Kane.
Yeah.
He's the first 100% Mexican-born fighter. Is this your big push? Are you hoping that he could be the guy to introduce you to that?
Listen, yes, he's the first 100% Mexican guy to fight. Who knows what's going to happen, you know? Is he talented? Yes. Can he go on some streak and win the title? That remains to be seen.
And is it true that you disallowed him from wearing the Lucha Libre mask?
Yeah.
Why now are you allowing him to do it?
Well, here's the thing. You guys know how I feel about guys acting like idiots walking out to the octagon. I can't stand it. You're going in there to fight. This isn't pro wrestling. You know, he's got a reason for why he does it, and they sat down, they explained it to me, and I'm cool with it. You know, all the other goofy shit that happens, I can't stand it, and it just to explain to you how painful it is for me to sit there and watch a guy walk, 25 feet to the octagon, acting like a moron. It hurts me. It hurts me, and I can't stand it.
So this isn't signaling a change in policy. This is kind of a one-time exception for this, or you'll look at it on a case-by-case basis.
If you tell me why, and those masks, Mexican wrestlers used to wear them, but it's a thing. It's a warrior thing.
Yeah.
And they explained it to me. I can live with that.
I know, like Conestauras used to have like a big headdress that he would wear at weigh-ins and stuff like that, but it was like a pride thing as well. So I mean, if guys talk to you and they can explain it, you think there's...
If it makes sense to me, you're just not acting like an idiot, trying to come up with a different spiel every time you walk, and that's your thing, I'm cool with that.
Some people say that's a good thing, though, for guys to be memorable and market
People tell me
themselves.
that, yeah. Well,
It's entertaining.
when I leave, they can do fucking backflips into the octagon, okay? When I'm gone, they can do whatever the hell they want.
What about someone like Tom Lawler, who's like universally applauded for his...
Yeah.
Does that bother you?
Do I love it? I don't. No, I don't love it. If that's the way you have to get attention, you should get attention by the way you fight. If you're really good, that's where you'll get your attention from. Not coming in with a new shtick every time you come in. But his thing doesn't bother me as much as others have. The other one, too, is Kyle Kingsbury. The guy's always got a fanny pack on and some, women's underwear, whatever he's doing. That one doesn't really bother me either. And those two guys do come to fight every time. So, I don't know.
Dana.
It's hit or miss with me.
Can I get you to say livemgm.com for MGM?
Get me to say, yeah. When we wrap this thing up, I'll do one for you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about weigh-ins, too, or are the weigh-ins kind of an exception, where maybe they can be a little goofy and get a little freedom to do something?
Yeah, it just depends. There's times when guys will come up there and I'll be like, seriously? And the thing you gotta understand about the weigh-ins too, they're on TV. people are watching on TV, you know, and guys come out and act like idiots. Yeah, it's not my favorite thing, but you know, I guess it depends on the mood I'm in that day too. So if you do something really stupid, you want to hope I'm in a good mood.
You got pretty fired up last night on Jim Rome's show during the PED segment and the government and all that. What's, you know, you were making a couple points there, but what's your take on, you know, government is involved in this sport and not other sports?
Yeah, you know, if you really want to crack down, you really want to, you know, do what you say. It's one thing to yap about it. It's another thing to do it. If the government got involved in all these other sports the way that they are in ours, you know, it would help. This thing is regulated by the thing that I got fired up about, and you know, and me and Carvel were arguing about it, is don't go after the old guys, the guys that are already retired and are already gone and have played. You know, they made their money. You're gonna spend these. Everybody knew what they were doing in the fucking 80s. Okay. Anybody who says they didn't is a liar. If you really want, and the argument is, well, what they're doing, they want kids to see that if this is what could happen. If well, go after the guys now. Go after the guys that are playing now. Those are the guys you want to go after. Those are the guys you want to bust. They can't. Players union, man. It's, you know, it's all a crock of shit. You either get serious and go after it, or just shut up about it and leave it alone.
Let me ask you
but I just hate seeing them go after the old guys.
You know, you've used that government argument a long time, but I guess, you know, any drug testing expert always says the state testing is the easiest testing to beat. Anybody who's cheating, you know, Victor Conti says you have to be a moron to fail that test. So how do you...
Fuck Victor Conti.
Well, you know,
the guy's a lying, two-faced piece of shit. I can't stand that guy. You're the biggest cheater in the history of the fucking sports world, and now because you can't make a living cheating anymore, you want to flip the other side and start calling people out and pointing fingers? I can't believe anybody even listens to this guy, anybody even quotes this guy. Victor Conti is a two-faced piece of shit.
Well, have you heard his position, though, why he
I don't care what his position is.
That's not fair.
I don't care about him. He's a fucking cheater
well,
and a
he's not the
liar.
only one that says
Now
that,
he's trying to
okay.
flip the script so that he can make a living on the other side.
No, that's
he's a scumbag.
Well, then let's bring some other people up into it then. And,
Yeah,
you know,
bring somebody credible.
You know,
get somebody credible in there that
who
you would listen
credible in your
to.
mind?
I don't know anybody else other than a guy who got caught for fucking cheating and giving all these guys steroids.
Well, Dr. Goodman then is, you know, she has a company doing that. I mean, so
right.
So I guess the argument is,
So what are we talking about? Are we talking about fighting, or are we talking about baseball and
fighting.
football?
So I guess my argument to you is you're saying.
So they say the
government
government isn't strong enough. They're not this. They're not that.
They don't have the money to do the real
testing.
testing.
We're regulated by the fucking government.
Right.
Some of these places, some of these states we go to, they test the entire card. Some places are random. Some places does the main event and a few other fights that are random. It's better than anybody else's.
Well, I don't want to ruin everybody else's interview, but I guess the question that I'm asking you is the state testing is. Any expert would say is the worst and the easiest to beat by people. They don't do carbon isotope ratio testing and all sorts of things. So you're not really finding out because they don't have the budget. So
but it's better. But it's better in baseball or football or.
Yeah, because they do CIR testing.
Oh my God.
It is.
Oh my God. They you think they randomly test? You think they're going to test some of their big star players?
It's in their CBA.
That's craziness. Yeah, I mean, if that's what.
Well, Ryan Braun tested positive.
But if that's what people want to believe, and if they really went in there and did real testing, you know what I mean? If the governments can't afford to test, how can they not afford to test? We fight here, you know, however many times a year. Floyd, Pacquiao, and a lot of other big stars fight here every year, and this city makes a lot of money off that.
Right, I agree.
And they don't use it to fund the commission, though. They turn it over to the state.
Then that's what they need to do.
Well, I think it's great that the state's testing. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying that any expert that you talk to in the drug testing field would tell you that the state testing, because of the amount of money they have and the type of testing they do, isn't as strong as other testing. So if you're saying we're regulated by the government as if that is some panacea that, oh, we're doing a great job, I would think that that's not really a fair statement, because they're not really, you know, you can't say that this sport isn't infested with PEDs.
Right. We could debate this all day. And PEDs have been around since people started making money in sports.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know what the real answer is to crack down on this whole thing. All I know is we are regulated by the government. They come in and they test our guys. That's a fact. And however you think, if you think football and baseball are really knocking it out of the park, pun intended, you know, you're crazy.
Well, Ryan Braun was the MVP, and he you know, tested positive after he won the MVP. Now the union.
But if you think that they were really testing all the guys in baseball, You think there'd be a fucking baseball game every day of the week? There wouldn't be, man. They'd be pulling guys up from the fucking, from the minors every day. It would be crazy. There's always going to be this thing in sports where somebody's trying to get an edge on the other guy. And as a owner or commissioner or whatever you want to call it, you do the very best that you can do. You do the best that you can do. If you look at our business and the way that our business is run, we got 475 fighters under contract. If you look at the shit that we do every day, we go, and there's so much shit to do, you can't even stay on top of all of it. Now, not only do we test our guys for PEDs, other illegal drugs too. Marijuana, cocaine, or any other drug that's out there. These guys get tested, and there's no penalties out there like our fucking penalties. Our guys have to, you lose the ability to make a living for a fucking year. Because that's the other thing. If you're going to bust guys, okay, this guy just got caught. What was the penalty when he got busted?
Well, what's his name? What did Manny Ramirez make, Dave? What was his salary? $20 million? He was making $20 million. He got to spend 100 games. That's $10 million.
Yeah. How many times did Manny Ramirez get busted?
Three.
Yeah.
3 times.
I know. Manny Ramirez got busted many, many times to the point where he left baseball. You know? Who else? Who other than Manny Ramirez?
Well, Ryan Braun was the MVP last year.
I can go through a laundry list of guys that not only got busted for PEDs, but for other illegal drugs and lost the ability to make a living.
And I guess it's a red herring. I don't want to bring in baseball or football only because this is one
of these things that we could argue about for a week. I mean, we could literally sit here for a week and argue about this. This is the system that is in place in all combat sports. We're regulated by the government.
Let me end by asking this then. Would you consider, as Dr. Goodman is one that's argued that you should do, hiring a company, whether her company or some other company, and say, hers is a nonprofit, so for whatever reason, but hiring a company to test all your fighters randomly, so that you would be saying, if I am doing the best possible job that can be done to guarantee that these guys are not fighting while enhanced in any way. So
hire her company or another company to come in and test all the fighters randomly.
And they do that like they do in the Olympics. So they test the guys like they do in the Olympics.
Like
so that they might call Junior and say, it's 10 days ago, hey, we're going to test you, got to pee in a bottle, or we got to take a blood sample, whatever it is. They do that, randomly unannounced.
Right.
So would you consider that?
I have no idea. It's something that I've never even thought of, or who knows?
I guess one simple question maybe to follow up on that. In your mind, do you think what's being done is enough? I mean, you say what the government's doing. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's enough, or do you think at least people do need to be thinking outside the box and maybe considering other options?
Well, let me ask you a question. Here's one of the other things. If you look at how we're regulated by the government, and I've said this publicly before, I do not think that the penalty should be the same for smoking marijuana as it is for taking performance-enhancing drugs. Yet it is. It's exactly the same. If you get busted, look at Diaz. Look at how long Nick Diaz is out right now, right? For marijuana. Same as a guy who's taking steroids. It's crazy. So the whole system is messed up. And I can guarantee you this, and forget about PEDs. You get into this testing that we're talking about, where you randomly test these guys. You know how many guys would probably test positive for marijuana? It would be probably off the charts.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you randomly tested and this came out, they'd get the same exact suspension as they did for PEDs.
Sure, then I guess they just...
It's all a big...
You don't break the rules then, right? I think it's stupid that you're penalizing a guy for marijuana.
I don't even smoke marijuana. It's fucking illegal and you shouldn't do it.
Right.
Okay? But the guys are going to get busted. They're going to get the same suspension as they would for a PED.
Right.
Whereas when you're taking a performance-enhancing drug, you go in and you face another fighter. You can hurt him.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for marijuana, it's just crazy. So when you talk, it's so easy to sit there and say, well, here's what we should do, and here's how you fix it. There's so many flaws in the system. It's just not that easy. It's not just a, hey, would you sign up this company, and what if you did, and we could randomly test? There'd be a whole shitstorm of other things that would come about. I'll bet you if you did that random testing, because everybody thinks that if you did this random testing, you'd catch so many guys on PEDs. No, you'd catch more of the guys on marijuana. That's where you'd really bust a lot of guys.
And that may be true, but I mean, then isn't it up to them, like you said about Nick, follow the rules and don't?
Yes.
It's stupid.
In a perfect world, yes. You think Nick Diaz was busted for marijuana already by the athletic commission. Then he comes into a fight and does it fucking again. You can't go 2 months without smoking weed. No, he can't, apparently. You know what I mean? No. So there'd be so much of this shit going on, it would be craziness. It would be crazy. You would bust more guys with that than you would with performance-enhancing drugs.
Well, commissions don't ban.
So 475 guys under contract, and 400 of them will be out with marijuana.
Commissions don't ban marijuana out of competition, though. I think even if the Nevada Commission found a guy testing positive for marijuana, but it was months before the fight, there would be no.
That's not true.
Yeah, on the water code, that is true.
But it depends on
no
fucking
penalty.
nanograms or however this shit works. Listen, I'm not an expert on this shit, but it is illegal. You can't do it. And as he got closer to the fight, you know, that would be one thing. If we were testing, we could say, dude, you just tested positive for marijuana. But this happened to me already. This already happened to me. I talk to these guys and I'll say, please tell me that you're not smoking marijuana. You know you're going to be tested for all this shit. No, I'm not doing it. I'm this, that, that. They're going to fucking tell me. And I tell these guys, I'm not the police. I'm not the commission. I'm not your dad. You can be honest with me. Let me know what's going on. And I had the same fucking problem with Stephan Bonner. You know what I mean? Stephan Bonner, how do you not tell me that when I pick you to take this fight? I get it. Listen, you're a grown man doing your own fucking thing. You don't have a fight planned. You're down there wrestling, doing pro wrestling, whatever you're doing. But when I call you, right, and we've been in business together for a long time, I care about you. I respect you. I've always done right by you. When I call you and offer you that fight, don't fucking lie to me. Don't lie to me.
Did you ask him specifically?
I'm not talking to him still.
Yeah.
We still haven't talked yet.
But
But he knows. He's a smart guy. Stephan Bonner isn't stupid. He's a smart guy. But you know what you're going to do? You're going to jump on the money.
Is it hurting him that he hasn't come out and said anything really yet? With the
You know,
public?
the guys, when something like this happens to you, you're embarrassed. You're ashamed. You know, there's a lot of shit that goes on when this goes down. I'm mad at him. I haven't talked to him, you know. He gave up trying to talk to me. I mean, it's not like I'm never going to talk to Stephan Bonner again. I will, but, you know, I'm upset. But, you know, it's easy to sit there and say, well, what if you did this and what if you did that? It's just so much more complicated than that. The whole system is a mess. It needs to be, you know, do I want to stop PEDs? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what the discussion was on Rome the other day. My thing was, never mind going after these guys. It'd be like going after Hagler and all these guys that used to fight and trying to drag them into court, and they spend a bunch of money and then you catch them and so what? What did you do? You just ripped this guy down, you blew a bunch of his money, and you tarnished his name. What good does that do the sport today? It's a big smoke and mirror bullshit show that they're doing, the government, with all that fucking stupid shit. You want to do it, go after guys right now. Bring them before Congress and ask them if they've ever played steroids and if they've ever taken steroids or whatever. Then what you'll see is, and you really want to affect the children, the kids are going to be like, holy shit, they actually just took this guy out of the game, ripped him apart, and, you know, wow, we better be careful. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Because that's how you stop it. The way that you stop it is you get these guys that are coming up in high school, you know, and even if it's for MMA, guys that are starting to train young, and they're like, man, if I get on this junk, I'm always going to have to be on it, number one. That's a fact. Yep. If you get on it, you always have to be on it. You screw your body up so bad, not only physically, but mentally. And then, you know, that's where you have to stop it. The whole government thing, what they did to the baseball players, is just a fucking freak show. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's disgusting.
His one arm.
Yeah.
Who's missing.
Yeah.
Would you ever
Never.
think he's undefeated?
No.
He's beating top, you know, not top guys, but you know, he's a.
Yeah.
No.
It's hard to fight here with two arms. You know what I mean? This
He's
is the.
shown that he can compete.
Yeah. Here?
Well, no, obviously not. He doesn't play, but Ultimate Fighter. Would you ever look at him or?
Maybe. I don't know. You know. I don't know. Where's he fought? Has he ever fought in Nevada or any of the big states?
XFC. I mean, it's
Where's
not,
that?
Boston.
Florida.
You know,
Yeah.
It's on Access TV. He is their champion, so you know he beat a guy recently who
Yeah.
fought other top guys.
He beat
He's
some
undefeated.
former UFC fighters.
Let me tell you what. Who did he beat?
Who was there? He beat at least one former UFC fighter.
I'm not sure if it was former. I'm not sure.
Journeyman.
10-0. Beat a guy who fought Eddie Alvarez. Kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's tough, man. This isn't. I mean, there's guys that are out there that we bring in that are considered top guys into the Ultimate Fighter that don't really ever pan out and make it.
But if he tried out, would you even let him try out?
I don't know. Would the state of Nevada let him fight? Would the state of California let him fight? You know, would some of these bigger athletic commissions let him fight? You know, maybe you can get away with that in some of these other states, but
Nick Limbo lets him fight for what it's worth.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
well,
a
there you go.
supporter
That's a
of him.
real one. So,
Florida.
okay, I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. Fighting with one arm is just craziness to me. I mean, it's just.
Lembo said he doesn't consider him to have one arm because it goes past his elbow. Yeah, so
Oh, he has an arm past his elbow.
yeah.
I don't know, man. I
That's why
don't know.
Lembo said.
I don't even know what to say to that. That's crazy.
Actually, very impressive.
Yeah, I bet.
Performances have been really impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's good kid.
Danny, you spent a few months telling us, talk to somebody else about Strikeforce because you're not the guy. Now that the cat's out of the bag on that whole thing, can you kind of talk to us about what went on behind the scenes?
I'm still not the guy. I'm the guy. I talked to Ariel about this yesterday. I could keep you guys here for 4.5 hours and go crazy, and you'd have some real good stuff.
Either that or PEDs, one or the other.
Yeah.
Are you at least glad that it's kind of over and done
I'm
with?
so glad it's over.
And then secondly, when you guys made the announcement that that would be the last show on Showtime, the implication there was that that's the last show period, but that wasn't ever really officially announced. This is going to be the last show period?
For
You're done?
Strikeforce?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What was there any kind of, because I've heard rumblings that maybe they retained either the name, Showtime retained library rights or anything like that? Just
Yeah, they do have they have the library rights for a couple of years, I think. Yeah.
so they own that,
Which is fine.
replays for a couple of years,
Yeah.
and then you get it back as part of the settlement,
Yeah.
basically.
So you can't use that footage to promote fights?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot?
You
You can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
So what rights do they have?
They have the rights to the library too.
Oh, they can use it.
Yeah.
And Scott Cole.
Remember, we didn't do this deal. We bought into this deal.
Can you at least maybe at this point tell us what the plan was that you would never tell us? You always said, "Sit back, boys. I got this all figured out. I know how it's going to work."
Well, the Strikeforce, I mean, you know, I see a lot of shit on the internet and stuff, people saying, oh, this is exactly what we knew was going to happen. They bought it to bury it and do all this stuff. Any of you guys that were around me during that time, that was absolutely not the plan. I was pumped up about it and you know, looking forward to getting into it, but nah.
Can't share what the vision was?
It's over, man. I'm just happy it's over.
Was the problem Espinoza or somebody beyond Espinoza?
Yeah, there's problems over there.
Does Scott have a non-compete over?
I have no clue. That I don't know.
Right.
Do you think that's the last promotion you'll ever buy? I mean, does this leave a sour taste in your mouth, or would that, you know, would you still evaluate on a case by case moving forward?
None of the companies we bought have been, you know, perfect except for the WEC. WEC was a great move, great transition. You know, everything worked out great with that. But all the other ones, you know, they were what they were.
So does it turn you off to entertaining the option moving forward if you ever saw another opportunity?
No, it would depend. I don't know. I would never say never on that.
Will Coker have a role like Lee Harris after, or is he not going to be a part of it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yeah. Not sure.
Will you be in Oklahoma City?
No. I will not be. Huh?
Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misunderstood Ariel's question. Go ahead.
He asked if I was going to the last Strikeforce, and I said no.
Are you going to do a UFC event in Hawaii? Was my question.
No.
Please?
Huh?
Please?
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
What?
I'm sorry. You said in the last Metro PCS chat that you guys would probably come to Puerto Rico 2014,
Yeah.
and that created a big riot in Puerto Rico.
Good.
So I got a new, very cool present for you from the fans. But I want to ask you, is there a tentative date for that? or
Not yet, no.
Okay.
But we're going to do it. We'll be there by 2014.
And what other new countries that you've never visited? I mean, Puerto Rico would be a comeback, but what other new countries that UFC has never been?
Well, India. We're working on India right now. Our event in China was a huge success. So we're working on really big deals over in China right now. China was really big. It was a home run. So
The UFC is going to Mexico next month for casting for some kind of
Yep.
what used to be the Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
What's going on with that? What's the deal?
That's what we're doing. We're going down there. We're casting, and we're working on an Ultimate Fighter Mexico.
Okay, will it be all Mexican? Or?
I hope so.
Okay.
Hope I can find enough good Mexicans for it to be all
I'm
Mexicans.
pretty sure if you don't, we can do Mexico versus Puerto Rico, and it will be.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Hey,
Does that
we
mean-
might have to do that.
Does that mean the broadcast deal is signed if you're already casting for it, or is it just kind of a tentative thing?
We're working on it.
Why Mexico loves fighting so much. I know in 11, Marcus Pacquiao was the #1 rated show. In 12, I guess Mosley and Pacquiao outdid the Olympic soccer game between Mexico and Brazil, rating. So they obviously love fighting, and yet you've had trouble getting into that market, and it doesn't seem to compute. Have you come to an idea why that has been, why you haven't had success given the love of fighting there?
Yeah, the UK loves it too. We've had trouble getting a deal there too. When you're dealing with some of these countries where, like 5 families run all of Mexico, you know what I mean? And in the UK, there's one powerful network there that you have to deal with. It's so crazy. The difference is, it's same thing in Brazil. You got Globo down there, but it's so big in Brazil. It exploded so big and so fast. We were able to get it done there. I mean, Brazil is a much easier place to do business.
Are you talking to Televisa and TV Azteca or some other network?
We're talking to everybody down there right now, so we'll get this thing squared away, get the Ultimate Fighter running down there, and again, once we get the right deal, I know it'll be big. I know it'll take off. Same thing with the UK. If we had the right TV deal in the UK, this thing would be huge there right now.
Do you think Mexico would be another Brazil?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely do.
So you think the fans are there, just not the TV deal?
The fans are definitely there. They're absolutely positively there. Yeah. That's not a concern at all.
Quick follow-up on Scott Coker real quick. Sorry to go back to that, but when you say you don't know if he's going to stay with the company, is that because it's not your call or because you're...
I haven't dealt with that.
So
I literally took myself out of this thing 100%. I have nothing to do with it. I obviously, big picture stuff I'm involved in, and I'm involved in pieces and parts that I want to be involved in with that thing.
The fun stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. The fun stuff for me is, I don't know. I don't even want to get in it. Don't talk to me about Strikeforce.
Going on 2012, then,
something
what about
the
Gilbert
problems
Melendez?
started a
Do you see
shitstorm.
him getting
They're all
a
coming.
shot?
They're all coming.
Will he get a title
Here's
shot
here's
after
what's
that?
happened. What has happened to the fighters in Strikeforce is horrible. The way that this thing went down and what's happened to these guys, and these guys have been very patient, and I feel sorry for them, and I'm just happy that they're coming into the UFC now.
When you say all, you mean absolutely everybody on the roster is going to get...
the ones that we're going to bring over.
Okay.
Everybody that ends up coming to the UFC. Yeah. What's happened over there has been completely shitty.
Do you think Gilbert will have to fight somebody first before a shot at Benson? Or
No. They'll probably come right in and get a title shot. Again, we'll see.
Can you talk about, and you talked about all the problems in 2012, what the tangible effect on the company was? Obviously we know the cancellation of 151, but was it ticket sales, was it money, or was there something more ephemeral, where you can't put your finger on it, but it's there?
As bad as 12 was, we still had a good year. Still had plenty of milestones, pay-per-view buys, ratings. I mean, everything was still... If there's anything that 2012 showed us, any of the people who were questioning and doubting the UFC business model, 2012 proved that Sting's here to stay.
We don't know what the pay-per-view numbers are, but were they similar to 11? Were they up? Were they down? Were they flat?
They were down. Yeah, they were definitely down. But nothing
Not
horrible.
alarming?
I'll tell you what, if you look at the year we had, 7 of 11 main events or 8 of 12, whatever the number was, I can't remember, we still had a great year, so.
What do you judge a great year on? Do you judge it on pay-per-view sales, ticket sales, or quality of fights, or what is it?
Well, if you look at the business part of it would be ticket sales, pay-per-view, obviously television ratings, all those things as far as the business goes. But as far as what I like to do and what we like to deliver big fights, great fights, fights that make people walk away and go, God, I'm glad I went to this event. I'll go to this event again. And I think the one fight last year where we really didn't deliver and we had a lot of people unhappy, upset, was Calgary. So I have to figure out a strategy to get back to Calgary and deliver what we should have delivered the first time. Because one thing that I always know, card falls apart, okay, we get to work, we build another card, and I always know that when the people walk out of the arena, that the guys are going to deliver and people are going to go, hey, it wasn't the fight that I thought I was going to, but we had a great time, the fights were awesome, and we just didn't deliver in Calgary. So.
Just one other question in terms of merchandise. Do you see, merchandise sales spike in terms of when certain guys fight? Like, do you sell more when George fights or when Chael fights as opposed to other guys? You know, is there spikes like that?
It's funny that you asked me about that, about merchandise, because, you know, obviously we have merchandise. We're in the merchandise business. I never look at those numbers.
Really?
I could care less what the numbers are. I'm not a merchandise guy. I'm in the fight business, man. It's like, it's just not my thing. I could care less.
I guess to kind of
How many
build on
t-shirts we're selling.
I was gonna say, I guess to kind of build on that. I mean, you said it wasn't a bad year, but a couple executive level employees aren't with the company anymore. A lot of people thought maybe that was a signal that, hey, they're trimming back, they're trying to cut costs because there's issues right now. Are you saying that that's not the case? It was more just Phil?
Absolutely not the case. Yeah, we had some housework to do.
In this, the Pickett Wineland fight, I know your answer is going to be we'll have to see what happens on Saturday night. Where do those guys fit? Where does the winner fit in kind of the Bantamweight title picture?
I
especially
love
with your
Pickett,
camp out?
man. I'm actually a
Right.
huge Pickett fan. You know, it's funny. It's always weird when I say I'm a fan of some guy. I'm a huge fan of Pickett. I love the way that this guy fights. I love his style. And Wyman, wow, what he did in the last event, I'm really happy for him, and it's going to be an awesome fight. Where does it stand? You know, I told you, I love Pickett, love his style, and Wyman, you know, coming off his last win, if he can beat Pickett too, it's a big fight for both of these guys.
Both of them are kind of the mind that the way the division is right now, with the champ out and having to have an interim title fight.
Yeah, I just don't know if I can talk about it. Yeah.
Well, it must be signing because you could talk about it if it was with them.
No, that's not what's going on.
I think it's a matching period.
Yeah, it's gonna get ugly.
The Ultimate Fighter on Tuesdays. How much of that was you picking that date, and how much of that was Fox? And
Me.
That was all you.
100% me. And what I love about those guys is, I've said this to you guys a million times. FX loved us on Friday nights. You know, it was good for them. It wasn't good for me. And they're good partners, and they promised me, said, let us try to build this Friday thing in a way that you'll be happy with your numbers. And if we don't, we'll move you to another night. And they did. They kept their word. And, you know, the Fox group they're the best people in television to work with.
Were there kind of like more than one day of the week that you guys were looking at beyond Tuesday?
Yeah, you
Not
know,
Friday,
Tuesday,
not
Wednesday.
Saturday, not Sunday.
Yeah, I like Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not a fan of Thursday, Friday.
I know you're a big fight fan. Are you planning to DVR the Bellator reality show?
I'm being honest, and everybody always calls, but I've never seen Bellator once. I've never watched it. I don't know if I can talk about it. If I could talk about it, I would. I think it's going to get ugly.
That's not the Dana White we know.
Huh? I know, man. This is crazy, right?
What's going to get ugly?
What's going to get ugly? What do you think is going to get ugly? What do you think I'm talking about?
Eddie Alvarez? How would he get ugly with Eddie Alvarez?
Yeah, I don't know. He's always trying to like spin shit and like say it in a different way, so that I'll say something else. And
he's usually successful too.
yeah, usually.
Yeah.
Not today.
Do you think